You're recognized for 5 minutes.
Good morning. It is an honor to be here representing the many dairy families in Iowa and across the United States. Chairwoman Gillibrand and Ranking Member Hyde-Smith, thank you for giving me the privilege of taking part in our governing process. I was born into a California dairy family who chased better market conditions into Michigan in the mid-90s. After we were married, my husband and I worked on his family's 500-cow dairy before taking an opportunity in an emerging dairy market, the Central Plains. I live with my husband and our 3 children in Northwest Iowa, but we also work closely with my brother in Southeast South Dakota. Together, across 3 locations, we milk 15,000 cows. Most milk in the United States is regulated through Federal Milk Marketing Orders, FMMOs. This system was put in place decades ago to prevent dairy processors from making one dairy farmer bid against the other. In other words, FMMOs promise dairy producers that if their milk is as good as their neighbors, they will be paid the same price. But after decades of decline in sales of fluid milk, that promise now seems to be broken. Although these conditions have benefited me personally in the last year, I am advocating for change because I want a fair system where everyone can compete on a level playing field. In 2020, cheese prices were very high. We shipped to a cheese processor, so our milk check was high, and we were able to pay down debt and grow our operations. Meanwhile, some of our neighbors were forced to implement cost-cutting measures to stay afloat. I have spoken to dairy farmers all across Iowa who are struggling because they are paid far less for their milk because they are not paid solely on that cheese price. Our prices are most definitely not uniform. This disparity is not unique to my region. I have family in California, Indiana, and Michigan with the same problem. On the surface, it seems that pooling rules are the problem, but the deeper issue is that FMMOs do not provide market-based incentives to move milk to the processing plants where it is most valuable. For decades, FMMOs encouraged overproduction of cheap, non-fat dry milk powder. When fluid sales were high, they subsidized milk powder returns. With fluid sales declining, per federal order rules, cheesemakers are left to subsidize powder through revenue pooling, and they declined to do so in 2020. Good intentions to create a system with uniform prices has resulted in a distorted system that is now coming unglued, to the detriment of dairy families whose income depends on the value of a blend of fluid milk, milk powder, and butter. The DRP and DMC have reduced the cost for producers to hedge against volatility and poor margins. But our pricing system must be improved to allow all producers to manage their commodity market risk. If dairy producers, like my neighbors in Iowa and my relatives in Michigan, can't anticipate what class of milk will participate in the pool, they won't know whether their milk checks will be based on the cheese price or the butter and powder price, and they cannot hedge effectively. This happened on my sister's dairy where I was raised in Michigan. Just like my dairy, they hedged based on the cheese price and incurred a loss. However, their milk took a dive along with the Class 4 markets, so their loss was compounded. Byzantine FMMO rules make it hard to predict how her farm's milk revenue will correlate with the main milk price benchmarks on the commodity exchange. The combination of unpredictable FMMO pooling and ad hoc government bailouts creates a moral hazard which further discourages risk management. I appreciate that the DRP and traditional risk management tools are based on free markets. We should be sure to offer the same market-based freedoms to processors who invest immense sums in our industry and also face commodity risks. We can modernize federal order regulations to provide consistent and predictable benefits and incentivize processors to react more quickly to shifts in market demand by redirecting milk to plants that produce the most valuable dairy products. The current federal order system is necessary and provides a safeguard against the market power of large milk buyers. But the system should be modernized to stimulate financial transparency and promote competition and innovation as opposed to consolidation among both processors and producers. Promoting competition between processors will give dairy families a better milk price and incentivize the development of new products and markets. Competition is good for everyone. Every day, dairy producers must compete with one another for land, labor, livestock, and feed. The wide variance in mailbox prices caused by current pricing formulas creates a sense of helplessness among producers. While competition is good, it is unfortunate that federal policies create an uneven playing field. When some producers receive as much as $9 less for their milk than their peers, even the best operator would not be able to compete in the long run. As a child, my dreams for the future did not include owning and operating a dairy. Now that I have had the opportunity, I cannot imagine raising my kids in any other environment. They get to learn firsthand the value of hard work, where our food comes from, and how to care for the land and animals that God has asked us to steward. I am currently raising one equine enthusiast, one future vet, and one future dairyman. It is important to me that we design a system that gives them the best chance to accomplish their dreams. Thank you again, Chairwoman Gillibrand, Ranking Member Hyde-Smith, and the rest of the committee for your time. It's been an honor to be here.